Welcome, my fellow freaks. Not to be confused with freak-offs. You gotta make that distinction these days. My name is Emily, and this is my podcast. Today, I have my first guest. This person is someone that I spend basically every second of every day with. He's my coworker and also my lover. Don't tell HR. Oh wait, it's me. I'm HR. It's Luke. Luke, say hi.
Hello. Hello, M's Pod, a.k.a. Emily's podcast, a.k.a. Breakfast with Emily, a.k.a. MDHD. Sorry, she went through a lot of name changes at the beginning.
Yeah, we're doing a collab, if you will.
So while you were doing your intro, Teddy just crawled up on me, and he was like feral trying to get up on me.
I kind of figured that would happen.
Oh, boy.
Yep. One interesting thing that's happening to us recently is we have literally what was formerly known as the Reno air races happening above our neighborhood. Literal jets in formation, like four of them, flying over our house for the last 2 days at the same time. I think they're rehearsing for the next Top Gun.
It's kind of like a mini earthquake whenever it happens.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in Star Wars. Like if I was in Star Wars on one of the planets, like this is how it would feel. Like having these like insane, they look like spaceships, literally. Like they're not just your average airplanes. They literally look like spaceship jet things.
And they've been like close. We'll go look at our window, and they're like close. We can see detail on these planes, and they're like shaking our house.
And it's distracting because every time you hear it, I literally, like, it's like a compulsion. I have to go look. Every time you hear the noise approaching, I literally run to the window to see what's going to happen because I literally can't control myself. Like something comes over me. I have to go look. Do you feel the same?
Yep.
Describe what you saw out of our front window yesterday.
Our neighbors?
Our neighbors. Describe that, like, this is the level of these jets is what happened.
Right. Okay. So first of all, some of our neighbors are a little kooky, and they like to get in our business a little bit sometimes. And so we look out the front window, and there's like a whole group, like a whole huddle of like 3 or 4 of our neighbors from different houses looking up at these jets going by. And I made a joke to Emily. I was like, oh, you want to go outside and join the huddle out there and hang out with all of our neighbors? She said, absolutely not.
No offense to the neighbors. Just not, yesterday wasn't the day for that. It wasn't the day. So what's something that's been on your mind?
Oh, wow. It's been on my mind. Well, definitely your podcast. Been, since we're together all the time, I just, we end up thinking about some of the same things. My content, I've been thinking about that a lot. Just what to do with that and how to mix it up and make it new and interesting and exciting. And
you've been inspired by me.
Yeah, for sure. Even though I've been making content for, years now.
Right.
But no, it's a nice reawakening. It's a reinvigorating of content within our house.
Yes.
And it's funny, as we were sitting down to do this podcast, I'm like setting up the cameras. So I run a video business. I do video content. I know she brought that up before, but so I'm setting up the cameras because I really wanted Emily to start filming these so she can use it as video content as well. I'm setting up the cameras before this, and she's setting up like the audio for the podcast. And I'm like, Emily, we're like a true content creating couple, which I know like it sounds lame and dumb. It was like kind of half a joke, but also half like, hey, this is kind of cool. We're doing this together now. We're kind of in the same boat now that you're doing your podcast, and that's really cool.
It is really cool. It is. It's fun.
Yeah.
Something cool for us to bond over.
Yep.
What team do you think Davante Adams is going to get traded to?
Oh, man. That's a great question. I mean, you probably know more than I do, and I heard you say like the Jets, and that could be an interesting thing because he's already played with Aaron Rodgers.
They're buddies.
Yeah.
They're pals.
And they had a good connection when they were both on the Packers together. I'm just going to throw like a random out there and say like Chargers or something.
Oh, okay.
Because then he'd stay close.
Well, but isn't that the same division or conference? I can't remember which one's which.
Right.
Aren't they the same?
No, division is smaller, conferences.
No,
bigger.
I'm saying aren't they in the same one?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I don't think that they would trade within their
That's true.
division.
Then,
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, then.
Because some people have said, like, oh, what if he goes to the Chiefs? You know, because, like, Rice and Hollywood Brown are both out.
Right.
But same division. So I don't know that they would.
Raiders are
Yeah.
in the Chiefs division?
Yes,
Then are Chargers in that one?
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but
Okay.
I feel like those three are in the same. But I could be wrong.
Okay.
For some reason
I'm
in my
trying
mind.
to think what team like doesn't have a good top receiver.
The Chiefs.
Well, I mean, Worthy's kind of stepping up.
Okay. Okay, Luke. One you haven't said
Maybe
is the Saints. They have Derek Carr, which that's the whole reason that Davante even went to the Raiders, because he played with Derek Carr in college,
Right.
and he wanted to play with him again.
Oh, that's a good.
So,
that's a
could be
good
that
pick.
one.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Diddy situation?
Oh wow.
Wait. It was the trombone sound.
Okay.
He can't hear in his ears.
Yep. Wow. The first word that comes to mind is, and I don't know if I can say this on here, but scumbag.
Do you think scumbag is a curse word?
No, I don't know.
I'm like, what are you about to say?
feels
I'm like, do
harsh.
I need to play the wait, say Diddy is a
No, it's just like, I don't know. It's not a bad word. It just sounds harsh.
Scumbag. He's such a scumbag.
I've honestly never been a huge fan of him. And maybe that's because him and Drake have gotten into like an altercation before.
big Drake fan over here.
Yeah. And hey, all the people who are saying, yeah, Drake's a pedophile, he fought the guy who's being called a pedophile now. So like, he was fighting him because he's the good guy. No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
we'll see. There's a lot of names apparently that
I
are going to
have
come
no
out.
idea.
So we'll see. I mean, Drake's already on thin ice. So if he's on this list that's going to come out,
Right.
it's not good for
I
him.
know. Well, the fact that they've like gotten into an altercation before is like the one thing that I'm like, hopefully Drake won't be involved in this.
Yeah,
at all.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say hopes are high,
Yeah.
but what are my thoughts on it? Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
Let me rephrase. I'm worried about me because of what might happen to Beyonce. Like, if she's a bad person, that's going to really challenge my worldview and going to really challenge my intuition, because I've always just felt like she's a good person. So
Okay.
if she's not,
Right.
okay, but no. It's different than Drake. There's already bad stuff about Drake.
Okay.
There's nothing bad about Beyonce. Like, no
Right.
one's like, oh, Beyonce did, like, there's nothing like that really out about her.
Right.
So this would be like, because the thing is, right now it's like the possibilities are either Beyonce is a scumbag, or her husband,
Is a scumbag.
and then it's like, okay, if Jay-Z's a scumbag and then she stays with him, which they've already overcome so much in their relationship. Like, you know, they've already been through cheating and overcome that. And so it's like, I don't know, like there's something in me that feels like maybe she would stay with him regardless of what comes out. And then it's like, that's going to be really bad.
Right.
Just, that's going to be bad. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who all was involved in this situation and at what level and how much we will know about it.
Right.
Like, because the lawyer guy who said, like, there's a long list of names, like, will we actually end up hearing any of those, or like what's going to happen with all this? So,
Right.
yeah.
For those who haven't heard about this at all and live under a rock, Diddy has been in and out of the news and been having weird run-ins with the law. And you're going to tell this better than me, but he just got arrested. And he's being, sorry, I'm losing the words here.
I'm trying to think of what the word is, like acquitted or
indicted.
Indicted, I think is the word. Yes, so he's being indicted by the feds
for like weird,
many accusations,
sexual trafficking and stuff like that.
Yes, sex trafficking. It's a long list of things, with sex trafficking kind of it being one of the big major
things,
ones.
right.
And like how all this Diddy stuff even like started as of recent. There's been rumors about him for many years, but recently there was a video of him abusing his former girlfriend, Cassie. And that whole situation like kind of caused like a domino effect of now there's all these things about Diddy that are getting found out by law enforcement and the feds and stuff like that. But he is for sure going to prison for a very long time. I mean, I heard something on TikTok where like the feds don't even go after someone unless basically they know for sure that they're guilty of whatever they're going after them for.
Dang.
So like they pick and choose their cases.
Right.
But
so this is funny. When they were raiding Diddy's or one of Diddy's mansions, they found like 1,000 bottles of baby oil, which is like weird.
no one just has that.
Right. Unless you're like into some weird stuff.
And someone tried to say, oh,
He got it wholesale from Costco. The F?
yeah, not a good excuse.
No way.
So you know, like when celebrities are on the red carpet, and the people from I just like made a really bad sound. Anyways, so you know, like when celebrities are on the red carpet and the Letterboxd people will ask them like what their top 4 favorite movies ever are.
Right.
What's your 4?
Okay, so I've been seeing those videos, and I obviously like this is one of my main pastimes is just ranking movies that I like.
It's literally the truth. He's not exaggerating.
Yep. So top 4. So like the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That are you saying that as 1?
Yeah, I'm just gonna clump that as 1.
Okay.
Are you gonna play a sound? Oh, I thought you were gonna play a sound.
No.
Inception, Interstellar, La La Land.
Well, I was going to say 50% Christopher Nolan, but then I remembered that one of your choices was actually 3 movies. So 20%, I'm not good at math in my head.
Right.
20% Christopher Nolan. Half Lord of the Rings, 20% Christopher Nolan, and then a musical.
Right.
Hey, can't complain about that sample space.
Yeah. Okay,
wow.
I've noticed sometimes people are good at, they'll choose kind of like one in different categories. Mm-hmm. So if I had to do that, I'd say Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Inception, maybe like The Notebook for like a rom-com.
Wow, I didn't even. That's your favorite rom-com?
Probably.
Wow. Well, is it a com?
Oh, okay. No, I guess that's just
It's just kind of a rom. Well, there's some com in there.
Right.
But like, I don't know if I would call it a.
No, you're right.
I'd call it like maybe a drum.
A
drum com?
But there's no
a rom drum.
Rom drum. Ooh, new thing.
A rom drum com.
Maybe. And then my favorite comedy. That's tough. Maybe Anchorman. Maybe School of Rock.
Nice.
I know I've listed way more than 4.
No, good. You're giving them a taste of what you like. What's a movie on the horizon that a movie coming out maybe over the next 6 months or so that you're most excited about?
Okay. Shoot, there's one in November that obviously like the Glicked weekend.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
That's going to be fire.
Explain what Glicked is.
Okay. So, Gladiator 2 is coming out, and Gladiator 1 is like one of my top. It's in like my top. I think it's my 13th or 14th favorite movie. Yes, I'm that specific with it. I know. Gladiator 1, super fire. Gladiator 2 is coming out, and it's led by Paul Mescal, super dope young indie actor, and Pedro Pascal, super dope actor. And then Wicked coming out. They're coming out the same day. So they are kind of trying to do like what happened last summer when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out. The Barbenheimer, which Barbie and Oppenheimer came out on the same day. Now it's Gladiator and Wicked, Glicked, and they're coming out the same day. So they're kind of, I think, trying to force what happened last summer with Barbenheimer. But I'm all for it. Like, people are going to be like, oh, they're trying to force it. I don't care. Give me that, you know? It's fire. So, yeah. And then Wicked is the Wicked movie. A little further out from that, a movie I'm really looking forward to is called Mickey 17.
Who's in that? I don't even have I even heard of that?
Bobby Patts, Robert
Bobby
Pattinson.
Patts.
Robert
Bobby
Pattinson.
Patts.
Yep, Bobby Patts.
That's
and
Edward. That's Edward, and
yes,
if no one knows.
Yep.
Edward Cullen.
You've been talking a lot about Twilight.
I have.
We're connecting the dots here. Mickey 17. It's like a sci-fi thriller
is
comedy.
it the Jung?
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho.
Yes, he's the director of this movie. He directed an older movie from a few years ago called Parasite. Super crazy movie. Definitely in my top 100 movies. Fire movie. It actually won. Did it win Best Picture?
Yes.
I think it won Best Picture.
No, it did. I know for sure.
Right. A couple years back. So that director, it's his new movie, Bong Joon-ho, Mickey 17. I'm excited for that one.
Starring Bobby Patts.
Bobby Patts.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm definitely excited for Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Also Moana 2.
Yep.
I love Moana 1. I'm really excited for Moana 2.
I just wanted to say this. So whenever I've heard in her podcast, whenever Emily burps, she goes, sorry.
Well,
like,
I don't.
But it's like really nice and sweet. Like, you're not just like, sorry. You're
well,
like,
I know that some people don't really like burping, but I
Right.
also feel like it's.
Some people do.
Yeah, and it's just me. Like,
Right. You're being
I have
real.
to include it. Like, it's just. The
Right.
burps are a part of me.
Yep.
You know, and they could be a lot worse. Like, I do it kind of quietly.
For sure. But I just love the sorry. It's like so nice and sweet.
What is your favorite movie that you've seen recently?
How recent?
Recently. Up to interpretation.
Okay.
Choose your own adventure.
Definitely my most favorite movie of the year so far, Dune 2.
Yep.
That movie was absolutely fire.
It was. Even I really loved that movie.
Yep. And if Emily likes it, you know it's good. More recently, The Wild Robot.
Wait.
Say it again. The Wild Robot. Say it again. The wild robot. Nice.
And then that and Blink Twice are kind of the two more like really recent ones that I've really liked.
Nice. Blink Twice, directed by Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
Yep.
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz.
Yep. Yeah, that was a good movie too.
Yep.
What's the worst movie you've seen recently?
Oh man, probably the one I just saw. So me and my cousin Kevin saw this movie. It's called The Substance, and I had been hearing a lot of good things about it. It was like it's got a pretty high Rotten Tomatoes, a pretty high IMDb rating, and a lot of like good reviews and like critics consensus. And I knew there was gonna be some like body horror, which like can be kind of gross sometimes, obviously. But this movie went so over the top, like some of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. Like my cousin Kevin put it, things happen that no sane human being would think of in this movie. But here's the massive bummer about this movie, The Substance. The first half of it was fire. It was sick. It was like super good acting, super cool cinematography, a really cool story being set up. And then in the last half of it, it just turns into the most horrible, like nasty, scary, gross, disgusting movie I've ever seen. So, but it was an experience for sure. Like me and Kevin like bonded over kind of traumatically over seeing this movie. So that's absolutely the worst movie I've seen recently.
Yeah, that's a big ol' no for me.
Yeah.
Because if my eyeballs are exposed to something, then it exposes my memory to what my eyeballs have been exposed to.
Right.
I will think about it for the rest of my life, and I'm not exaggerating. I watched the horror film The Human Caterpillar when I was in high school. I don't need to get into the explanation of the title, but there are scenes from that movie that I will never be able to erase from my memory ever. So I've learned my lesson a time or two. I can't expose my eyes to things.
I thought you were gonna talk about Midsummer.
That one's, I don't know. That one wasn't
That bad?
It wasn't like that bad.
Yeah.
I also feel like I close my eyes a lot. Like if I know something's about to happen.
Okay, you
I'll
would have
close
been
my eyes.
closing your eyes for literally half of this movie.
Yeah, I bet I would.
I even like was blocking the screen with my hand a little bit. And for me, that's like, you know it's
handle
bad.
more. Yeah.
I can handle way more than you.
Yeah.
So you know it's bad if I'm even like looking away.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you like going to the movie theater so much?
Great question. I feel like that's kind of a hot topic these days because movie theaters are kind of like dying a little bit, which pains me to even say that is a thing.
You're keeping them in business.
Yeah, I am for sure, single-handedly. And I see people saying like, "Oh, I can pause it whenever I want. I can get up and get the
When they're
snacks
watching
I
at
want
home.
when they're watching at home instead of like the theater experience." And for me, I love the movie theater experience. Just watching it on that massive screen is just so cool to me. Like, even if I had a massive screen in my house, like if I had a home movie theater, I would still love to just go to the movies. Honestly, just supporting movies, I love doing that. Like, pumping my small amount of money into the movie industry, so that theaters don't close down. And it kind of sucks nowadays. That's how they base the success of a movie, is how much money it makes, like the first couple weeks in the theaters. So just supporting movies. honestly, just the vibes are immaculate in a theater. You know, the screen's massive. It's blacked out. You're with your peeps. I'm really good about bringing in my own snacks and stuff.
Okay, that's literally my next question.
Okay.
I would like for you to describe what you bring to the movies with you.
Okay. So, and this all goes into my theater going experience because it's like I don't need to pause the movie at home and get up and get snacks because I just bring everything I need in with me. Okay, so I bring in a separate bag into the movie theater.
A separate fanny pack, like a separate hip, shoulder
right
bag,
so
whatever you want to call it, cross-body bag.
Right.
He has his main one.
Like my main one that has all my
everyday
wallet
one,
and everything.
And then a separate one that he
bag.
brings also into the movie theater.
Yes. And so the reason that I started doing this is I started going to the movies once a week on Tuesday nights, Tuesday movie night. It's $5.
At Cinemark, not everywhere.
Yes.
Well, other theaters might, but
Right.
What's the other chain we have here?
Legend? No. Sorry, Galaxy.
Galaxy. They don't do it.
It's at Legends. Yeah, they don't do that. So I started going once a week, and like at first when I was going, I was like buying a soda or a candy or popcorn, like when I was going every single week. And so Emily, you know, the smarter, financially budgetary person is like, honey, like we should probably try and save money since you're already buying the ticket every week. Like try and bring some stuff like from home and we can save that money. I also at the same time was like, okay, I don't need to be taking in all these extra calories at the movies once a week. Like when people go to the movie theaters once every couple months, like sure, get popcorn, get a soda, but I'm going to the movies every single week.
Sometimes multiple times.
Sometimes, yes. So now I just save getting popcorn and a soda and a candy for like the really big movies that I'm excited about because that elevates the experience.
What's your favorite, like if you're gonna get something at the theater, what would you get? What's like your go-to snack?
Large popcorn.
Okay.
Large Dr. Pepper.
LDP.
Yep. If we're together, if I'll get a Dr. Pepper, you get like one of those Slurpees or slushies. Mm-hmm. That's bomb. And then I'll get some type of sour, sweet gummy treat. Mm-hmm. Nerds Clusters, Lifesavers, watermelon, Sour Patches, you know, something like that. I don't have a fixed one. I like to mix it up.
Right. Okay, wait. So sorry, back to what do you bring?
Sorry, yep. So I bring with me to the movies, I bring a soda can in my bag so I don't have to buy a soda because I was doing that every single week. I bring in a Ziploc bag full of popcorn that we buy and have at home. Like just, what's the popcorn
like
brand
Smart,
we buy?
Smart
Pop,
Food.
Right.
Like the black bag or just whatever.
Right.
Whichever one.
So we buy popcorn in bulk and then I put it into a Ziploc bag so I don't have to buy popcorn. So I still get my fix at the theater. I get popcorn. I get a soda. Obviously, I'm not getting the delicious, buttery movie theater popcorn, but I'm still getting like that vibe.
You want to hear a hot take?
Yeah.
Lately, when I enter the theater and I smell that popcorn smell, I'm like, I would do anything to have that with me right now. Like I would do anything to have that popcorn. And then when I get it, it doesn't taste as good as it smells.
Oh.
I don't know why. Like, I don't know. Lately, it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need that. And then I get it. And then it's like not as satisfying as I'm hoping that it would be. Not that it's not good. It's just for some reason that smell when you enter the theater is like intoxicating. It's just same with like a Cinnabon. Like it smells amazing. But then when I'm eating it, I don't necessarily like it as much as I just like smelling it.
Interesting. That is a hot take.
Yeah.
I would say the popcorn smell is a key reason why to go to movie theaters.
Yep.
Because you're not going to like make your house when you're watching a movie on streaming. You're not going to make your house smell like movie theater popcorn.
Yeah.
Unless you were like weird and got like a candle that smelled like that.
I'm sure some people
Right.
do.
For sure.
I'm
And
surprised you don't have that.
Well, I like the movie theater going experience, so I don't need that at home.
Okay.
I save that as a special thing for the theaters. Also in my bag, couple different candies.
Whatever we got.
Whatever we
lying
got
around.
Yeah, like I don't buy new candies for that, but it's like if we have leftover candies from something, I'll also put like some meat sticks in there, some jerky sticks, a protein bar maybe. So that second bag, it's dialed.
Well, and then not to mention, you bring in your water bottle.
I bring in my water bottle.
And then you bring in a blender bottle.
Yes.
And then you fill it with ice when you get to the theater.
Yes.
And then you pour your can of soda
into
the iced blender bottle.
Yes. Yep. So I have a whole ritual because I go to the movies so often. It's like I have it dialed. So on my way to the movie, or like before I go to the movie, I make a liquid IV or a Mio, which gives me energy to stay awake for the movie.
Mio energy specifically, not just
Yes,
Mio.
right. Yeah, Mio energy with caffeine. I'll make one of those in the blender bottle, and then I'll be drinking that on the way. And then I get to the movie theater, fill that cup with ice. If it still has a little of my drink left, I'll kill that. And then I'll put my soda into that nice ice. So I got a fresh soda, got popcorn.
Nice ice reminds me of one time I was doing this teacher training. And this lady was singing this song, 3 nice mice, 3 nice mice.
It's a good song.
Yep. What is your ideal seat in the theater?
I like...
Not front row, though.
Not front row. Okay, that's an inside joke. One time I said, I will be front row at the new Lord of the Rings movie. And I start getting all these DMs. Oh, front row, that sucks. And I'm like, all right, guys, I meant like metaphorically. Like I'll be front of the line to get tickets to that. Not I'll be sitting front row. It's like front row at a concert means like, you know what I mean? It's like a metaphor, not I'm specifically going to sit front row in the movie theater. That's like crackhead energy. So I like to sit basically dead center. Okay,
so you're not like unique or anything.
I like to even go a little bit above center. I don't know, for me, but I've been mixing it up recently because Kevin likes to sit a little closer because I've noticed he likes to lean his head back and look up at it. Whereas I think I like to be a little further back and maybe look down at it. But recently, I've just been mixing it up more. So, yeah, I guess not super unique in that aspect. I used to like being like in the fully in the back because then you don't have anyone behind you.
There's been a time or two where we've had people sitting behind us and Luke is stressed out the entire movie. Like I can just tell he just cannot stand someone being behind him.
Right.
He'd rather have someone in front of him than someone behind him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you told me that once.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I go back and forth, but that's probably true. Because some theaters you're close. So if someone's behind you, it's like they're kind of in your space a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to like sitting in the very back of the theater because then you got no one behind you. You kind of have your own space, your own vibe. But then obviously you're a little further from the screen. So they all got their pros and cons.
Yep. Well, and in Reno, like different theaters, there's like a different particular seat that you'd want at different theaters. Because like the Summit Mall, those are all the recliners. And those are like, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't matter as much with those where you are. Because there's, I don't know, it just feels more even. And they're all like really spaced out. Park Lane is like kind of just normal. And then Riverside, there's some theaters in the Riverside theater that are very like long rooms. Like they're narrow and
long. Yep.
So like a far away row in that theater is, you feel very, very far from the screen.
Right.
So I feel like it kind of depends what theater you're going
sure.
to in Reno.
Here's how much of a theater going movie crackhead I am.
Maybe say nerd or geek to not offend
Yeah,
crackheads that might be listening to this.
for sure. We should definitely try our best to not offend crackheads.
Yep.
So here's how much of a theater movie nerd I am. I have a notes in my iPhone where I started taking notes of different theaters, and because they're all different shapes and sizes. Like the newer theaters, they're pretty uniform, but like the older theaters, they're kind of like it's hit or miss what size of theater you're gonna get in. So I've started taking notes. Oh, like Auditorium 9. This is the perfect row for that one. And eventually, in a few years, I'll have every single theater at every single auditorium at every single theater. I'll know where the ideal space to sit is.
Well, I can't wait for you to achieve that.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a big goal of mine.
Yes.
For sure.
Burning question.
Yeah.
Previews or no previews? Like, do you want to get there early to watch all of them, or are you like, I'd rather miss them and get there right at the right moment?
That's tough. Since being with you, dating and married, we get there early. And
I like to get places early.
We get there to see all the trailers, which I like. Okay, how do I explain this? I like getting there to see all the previews, but now that I go to the movie so often, some trailers I'm seeing so many times before I see the movie
That makes sense.
that it gets a little bit like, okay, it's starting to like ruin that movie a little bit because I've seen this trailer 10, 20 times. So I don't know. And I think I told you this. I wanted to start making like trailer
Reaction vids.
trailer reaction videos, but it's like I see all the trailers before I have time to make a reaction video to them. So I would either have to like be super quick to do it, which is unlikely in my current life that I would be so quick to watch a trailer that I would do it before the next Tuesday, or I would have to be out of the theater while the trailers are playing.
See you next Tuesday. That's inappropriate. Do you remember the first movie that we ever went to the theaters like alone, like just the two of us? What's the first movie we saw in theaters together?
Okay, there's two different options come to mind.
There's a clear answer.
Because we've had a long storied.
Oh, okay. I'm saying ever. Alone. The first movie we...
Frozen?
No.
Brave?
I'll be shooting from your own hand.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah, Brave.
Second option, Brave. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you could change your fate, would ya?
Would ya? Okay,
it's Brave.
the other option I was gonna say, because this was when we got back together one time.
I was going to say which time.
Was we went to go see Star Wars Force Awakens together.
Oh, well, we weren't even like, that
Right.
wasn't even romantic. That was like
Right. But didn't we kind of rekindle?
after that.
Right.
Like that was kind of the beginning
Right.
of a rekindling.
Right. Yes.
One of them.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's kind of a crazy story. Luke and I was in college, maybe, I think I was a sophomore in college. Yeah, I was a sophomore in college. Luke and I hadn't been friends or talked or anything for maybe a year.
Yeah.
Maybe less than a year.
Right.
6 months.
Right.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be at least 6 months. But one day, I just get this random text from him. Hey, you want to go see Star Wars? And I'm like, okay.
So from my perspective, that the new Star Wars was coming out, and it's like the first movie of the new trilogy. And I'm like, I really want to see this movie. Like, my brothers are both busy or moved. My friends, like, we don't really see movies together. That's not really a thing we do. And I'm like, who do I see movies with? And I'm like, man, me and Emily used to go to the movies together all the time. And so I just texted you. I'm like, God, I really want to see this movie with somebody and somebody fun and cool.
Me.
Yeah, and so I thought of you and I texted you and then we went to see it together.
And then we fell in love.
Yeah.
Actually, were we already in love? Let me think. No, I actually think at least for me, I fell in love with you that go round. Okay, so speaking of movies, there's one particular movie that I promised in my last episode that I would discuss in this one. This is for you, Emma, because you told me you were really looking forward to this. What are your thoughts on Twilight New Moon?
Is that the second one?
Yeah. And this is fresh for him. I just had this movie on like 3 nights in a row this week.
I like it because I think it starts to explore Bella and Jacob's relationship more. Which, like, I always kind of confuse the two. And I'm, like, looking for moments that happen in New Moon when Twilight is on.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Like, we'll be watching Twilight, and I'm like, when does she start, like, hanging out with Jacob more? And, like, when does he get ripped? And when does she, like, ride the dirt bike?
When does Jacob get ripped? That's a key. You need to know what movie that happens in. Like, you need to know what movie Jacob gets ripped in.
That's New Moon, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's just a key. When it comes to the Twilight Saga, you need to know which movie Jacob gets ripped.
Right.
And it's New Moon. I think one thing about New Moon that you can really tell when you're watching the movies like kind of close together, just the change in the quality of it. Like you can just tell that it had a way bigger budget than the first one, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just way higher quality. Like how they, like the makeup is different, like especially for the vampires. Like the vampires totally look different.
Right.
Like they have different color contacts than the first movie. Also, everything all of a sudden turns warm toned. Like in the first Twilight movie, it's very blue toned, very cool toned, and then all of a sudden, New Moon gets the yellow filter treatment, and everything is like way more warm toned.
Right.
Which, that's an interesting creative choice. Not that it's bad; it's just interesting.
Right. Yeah. So tell us more about your take on New Moon.
So, when I was reading the books in middle school, New Moon was my least favorite of all the books because, spoiler alert, Edward's barely in it. And at that point in time, it was all about Edward for me. Like, I needed Edward there. So I was kind of so PO'd reading New Moon as a kid. Well, not really a kid, as an adolescent. And so therefore, like, I don't know, New Moon was just, that was my least favorite. That was my least favorite book. I didn't love the movie either. Like, it wasn't my favorite. Now, I feel like New Moon is underrated. Like, I think that movie is really good. And if I were to read all the books again, I wonder if the New Moon, the book, would stick out to me more than it did in the past. Or if the movie's just well done. Because that is just a good movie. Like, it's very sad, but then there's also so much comedic relief.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, for instance, when they go to the movies, her and Jacob and Mike.
Oh my gosh.
To see Face Punch.
Yes.
That
whole scene is hilarious.
It's so funny.
From even like a non-Twilight
yes.
lover person. A non-Twihard.
Non-Twihard.
That whole movie scene is like just funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's good. Yep.
Mike, that guy is funny.
Yeah.
He's low key one of the funniest people in that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just really good comedic relief. Also, can we talk about like the movie cover? It's actually good, especially when you look at the Eclipse movie cover. Oh my God, it's bad.
But is that the official poster or just the one that's on like?
So
streaming?
The New Moon one, that's the official.
But it's just vertical.
Yes, I can't speak on the Eclipse one though. I don't remember what the official Eclipse poster was, but the one, that New Moon one, where it's like Edward's back is turned and he's all, you know, looking over his shoulder, and then it's like Jacob behind him, and then it's like Bella, it's like the raising the bar thing, like tallest.
And
to
it's kind of
shortest.
like what color? It's like a color,
It's brown.
right?
Yeah.
Like a brownish green or a brownish orange or something.
Yeah, I don't know about any green, but
Okay.
yeah, it's like a warm toned.
Right.
Honestly, Eclipse. I've been watching Eclipse the last few nights. So when I was a kid, why do I keep saying that? I wasn't a kid. I was a tween. I was actually even a teen. I was 13 when I read these. Was I? Maybe I was 12. I was a tween or a teen. 7th grade. Eclipse was low key, maybe my favorite book of the 4 because it was like, and I don't know if that's just because Edward wasn't in the second one. And then so finally we get to Eclipse and it's like Edward's back and it's just like a relief. It's like, oh my gosh, Edward's back. There was just something maybe it's because the third one is like before kind of all the spoiler alert, marriage and everything that happens after they get married in the 4th book. Like the 4th book, there's just so much stuff happening. The third one is like, it's the one book that you get where they're like still in high school and they're in love and they're in a relationship. And it's just like, it just feels like payoff for having to miss out on Edward for the whole new moon.
Right.
So,
Why is Edward gone in New Moon again?
remember he dumps her at the beginning because he thinks it's better for her.
Right. And then so she's like with Jacob a lot.
Yeah, it's like the whole second book is kind of building up her and Jacob's story.
Right.
New Moon is like, that's Jacob's book. It's like, that's when sorry, spoiler alert. But honestly, at this point, if you haven't watched them, you deserve this.
For sure.
When he like transitions into a werewolf and all
Right.
that, like it's Jacob's movie,
Right.
which is why I didn't like it when I was younger because I was Team Edward.
Right.
Now, as an adult, it's crazy how fast I flipped. Like, it's Jacob all the way. Like, like
Here's a
for
question.
me.
Okay.
Not necessarily for Bella. Like, I'm Team Jacob
Okay.
for me.
Got it. Here's a question.
Okay.
When the books were coming out, was there a big Edward versus Jacob rivalry?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Or did
Oh,
that
yeah.
come about when the movies
No,
were out?
no.
Okay.
It's all, it was Team Jacob versus Team
Just
Edward.
from the book.
Just from the books.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were just Team Edward.
Oh, I was so Team Edward. I was the most Team Edward that you could be. I couldn't stand Jacob.
Okay.
To me,
Wow.
well, because Jacob was always trying to get in the way of their love.
Got it.
Like I couldn't stand Jacob. Now, it's like, Bella, do you have eyes? Like, look at him. Are you crazy?
Okay, but was he like, is he that hot and shredded like in the book?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
He has like a whole, I mean, it's been a long time since I've read it, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like he has this whole,
But the
blow up
movies,
thing.
being able to see it, how they did the movies changed you from Team Edward to Team Jacob.
I wouldn't say the movies. I would say age.
Got it.
Age. As an adult,
Right.
I understand the Team Jacob thing. As a kid, as a tween, Lord have mercy.
As a kid.
I didn't understand Team Jacob. I didn't understand it at all. I couldn't even formulate an explanation as to why anyone would be Team Jacob. I didn't get it. And then I watched the movies as an adult and I fully understood
Right.
because I have eyes.
Well, I hear you saying to the movie, oh, because you have eyes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, and other than that too. That's just a joke. But
You were going to say age did it to you. And like, you say you literally are watching the movie by yourself in our bedroom and you're like, their relationship is so toxic. And I
Her
think
and
that's-
Edward.
Yeah, right. And that's part of the age thing.
yes, they're low key so it's at this point, it's so many things about that saga of books and films that would not fly today.
Right.
I mean, just the fact that Edward is low key 100+ years old and Bella is high key 17 years old when they meet, and and then they get married while she's 18. Like, it's just crazy. That would not fly now. And the whole, we'll save this for when we watch the next 2 movies, but the whole imprinting
Yeah.
on a baby? That's whack.
Yeah.
I mean, that is crazy. I mean, it's tea. Low key. I mean, it's tea when that happens. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a whole new layer to this story, but
Right.
it's also really whack.
Right.
So, no, Jacob! Jacob, no! Eclipse. Oh my gosh, her wig in Eclipse. It's so obvious. It's so bad. I hate that wig so much. You can just tell. Just the way it lays. Like, especially when you watch the movies back to back really soon. Because she had cut her hair to play Joan Jett in The Runaways, which also had Dakota Fanning in it. I just realized that they did movies together, like, intermixed.
Okay, so I didn't notice the wig because I'm just like, oh yeah, she looks good.
Well,
you know,
you're a boy.
Right. But then you pointed it out to me, and now I notice it.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, okay, I can see it.
Eclipse is, I'm going to say it, I think the worst movie of the franchise.
Oh, wow.
I've watched it the last 3 nights. Not like the whole thing 3 nights in a row. Like I will fall asleep.
To it.
Yeah. I think it's low. I'm not even going to say low key. I think that's the worst movie of the franchise.
Dang.
Yeah.
What's the best?
I'll tell you once I finish all 5 again.
Finish all of them. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a thought to myself. Is Eclipse the Half-Blood Prince of the Twilight Saga? But am I only thinking of it like that because that one was my favorite book as I was reading them?
Right.
Or is it that it's not that good of a book and not that good of a movie? I'd have to reread the books to know for sure, like if it's just a bad movie,
Right.
or was that story just...
You liked the book?
Oh, that one was... Eclipse was probably my favorite
Interesting.
of the 4 books.
Yeah.
But now, the movie's not that good. Yeah, it's just not.
And it's weird that it's the one right before the finale. Like
Well, yeah, and
last.
they broke that into 2 movies.
But they did that with Harry Potter too.
Well, yeah, Harry Potter set the precedent.
Right. Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's interesting that the one before the split finale movies is the one that you really liked the book and didn't love the movie.
Yes. Yeah. Any other thoughts about Twilight from your perspective, since you have been like kind of in and out watching all the 3? We've only watched 1 through 3 so far. Any thoughts about Twilight?
They make Victoria Bryce Dallas Howard. Does that happen in New Moon or just after Eclipse?
The recast?
Yes.
In Eclipse.
Okay. That's nice, you know. That I think that was a good recast.
Yeah.
And that's one of my main thoughts
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Jacob is freaking shredded. He's a good, you know, you see him and it's like, dang, I need to get more shredded, you know?
Let's rephrase. You don't need.
I
get
want
more.
to get
Okay.
more shredded when I see how shredded Jacob is.
Okay, I can respect
It's
that.
motivational.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I see how shredded he is after my own food and workout journey as an adult, I know how hard that is.
Right.
Like, I don't even want to know what he had to eat to accomplish that
Right.
body, because that is low key so hard. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying it like I've achieved it before and know how hard it is. I'm saying I just, as never achieving it, I can understand how hard it would be because I've never achieved it.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a new segment today to introduce.
Oh, fun.
It's called That's the Tweet. And it's when I think of like a one-liner or something that is really funny, but there's not really any more to, like, there's not so much I can add to it to really talk about it on the podcast. It's just a funny thing that I thought.
Got it.
That when I was actively tweeting things, which there was a time in my life where I had really funny tweets. I would think of something and I'd tweet it and I would crack myself up over my tweets. I'm really internet funny.
Right.
So think of something and it's like, that's the tweet. So I had something today where I was observing, I saw a little spider and inside my house. Kind of not like a baby spider, but also not like a big spider. Luke will tell you I don't like spiders in my house.
True.
I saw this spider and I'm like feeling kind of too lazy to kill it. And also like, I don't know, it didn't seem that big, like it would harm me. And so I thought when I let a spider in my house live, it's like when a cop catches me speeding, but they just kind of decide to just let me go. That's what it made me think of. That's the tweet.
That's the tweet?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, any closing thoughts or remarks?
Okay, well, I did want to say / bring up, first of all, thank you for having me on M's pod.
You're welcome.
There's some,
I know you had to travel a long way to get here.
I did, yeah.
All the way from the living room.
over. So I, a while ago, came up with the idea for me and Emily to have a podcast together, and we were going to call it, I came up with the name Vibes and Views. So basically, like, then she was like, no, I don't want to do one with you. I want to do my own podcast. And like, that's really cool. And I'm really proud of her. But this was basically like the sample of what Vibes and Views would have been like.
It is. Yeah.
So if you do want us to do that, just comment Vibes and Views. And if we get like 50, 100 comments, we'll launch a separate podcast that me and Emily will do together called Vibes and Views with Z's.
Why don't you just make your own called Vibes and Views?
I could do that.
And I could be on it sometime.
That's true. I just thought it was a funny thing to bring up since I'm the first guest on your podcast, on M's pod. And I just want to say, honey, I'm proud of you. And this is really awesome doing your whole podcast thing. Thank you for having me as your first guest.
You're welcome. I am so glad that I had my first guest today. This was so fun. This was my first time recording in the afternoon.
Right.
That's a new experience.
And your first time videoing.
Well, I technically videoed the first one.
Right.
But then I didn't do anything with it.
Right.
Yeah, well, anyways, everyone, thank you for listening. And I will catch you on the next one.
Next one.